So I went through it and I thought, I'm going to pick out some of my favorite pages of which I either use the most or find the most interesting. They are full of absolutely great information. Again, you're going to get little chartlets from them. You've got information and you've got a lot of blurb. There's various other almanacs and maritime publications that we'll find in the real world. Yes, the training almanac that we use on our courses is very similar to it, but I just thought I wanted to touch on some real life examples. Now, the goal here is just a brief overview of the publications available. I don't want to cover everything in depth, and I don't want to repeat myself, having just gone through all of the things that we've learned about in our training almanac. I just want to make you aware of what is available out there. It's then a case of you yourself going and finding these publications and getting your nose in and reading them and learning more about the area that you're going to sail in. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Reeds Nautical Almanac. This is generally the most common book you'll find on pleasure cruising vessels. I've got the big massive version, 1063 pages or something like that. You don't always have to have the big one. There's various options. Also, it doesn't have to be a Reeds. There's an Imray version. There's also a small vessel Reeds version as well. Because I've grown, or because I spent my career sailing commercial vessels, we've generally always just had one of these. So that's what I'm used to. But all the others will tell us the same information, maybe just in different formats. The Nautical Almanac is our go-to for all information. Now, excuse the pictures here. I was just trying to get the best I could. As I say, I'm not going through this whole book page for page. We've got 1062 pages in here. We'll be here till next week if I went through it all in one go. I just thought, so I went through it and I thought, I'm going to pick out some of my favorite pages of which I either use the most or find the most interesting, or when someone's asking, oh, how did you know that? Well, I use that page of the almanac. So it's kind of like the most utilized pages. First one here, right near the start, it's got a whole section on formalities. So it tells us about any regulations that we need to be aware of for cruising in amongst the area that our almanac covers. It tells us all about customs informations, so how we can go and clear in and out of different countries, and also the legalities of being on our vessel. Do we need to be insured? Do we need to have a qualification? Where can we go? Where can't we go? That type of thing. And while this one here that we've got, this covers basically the north and west of Europe. It covers from the tip of Denmark to Gibraltar, including the British Isles, Ireland, and it's even got arrival stuff in some of the Atlantic islands as well. But you would get something similar for other parts of the world, and yet you're still going to get formalities and information that you're going to think that's a really useful page. Time zones. So I've just reiterated it when I was talking about the training almanac. But yeah, time zones. It tells us what local time is in the various countries that you'd be sailing or cruising in. It tells you how the tides will be given, generally always in the local time. And I threw in the word there that DST is artificial. And I thought, oh, that's a really good way of putting it. Because basically, we might be assuming that everything changes when we change DST. But as I was saying, all our tide tables and everything, it doesn't. They stay the same. So DST, when we change it and we change the time on our watch, that's like an artificial time. All of our important information time is still in our local time. So we need to just be aware of that and add the hour to DST when required. And the other one is clock time. So that's like all those weather broadcasts that I mentioned before, and they're on the same picture here. Weather broadcasts are generally given in clock time. So if it says it's 0700, that's 0700 UT or 0700 DST, whichever one you're in. Communications, this is always going to be super useful. It's starting to give us all the information about our MRCCs, so Maritime Rescue Coordination Centres. It's given us their phone numbers, what areas they're focused on, and so which one that we might want to put our phone number in. For instance, if any of you are looking to sail offshore, you might want to pop the number on a speed dial into your satellite phone if you have one, or even, you know, onto your own phone as well, because at least then it's quick, and it's a quick number to call for help in an emergency. I love this page. I absolutely love it. It basically tells us all the different weather areas around the UK. It tells us where all the Coast Guard repeater VHF aerials are, and which channel that repeater aerial is used to broadcast the weather information or security bulletins. So some of you will have been out there before, and you'll have heard on channel 16 the Coast Guard have come through and says, for a maritime weather and Coast Guard bulletin or weather broadcast, listen channel 62. And then you'll hear it again. It'll say listen channel 63, listen channel 10. And you're like, well, which one is it? Well, you want to go to the most clear one, but you might have missed that one because that one might be the first one and it just clicked. It's like, oh, I need to listen to the forecast, but I don't know which area to listen to. Well, you can come to this page, look where you are, and be like, okay, that's the area I want to go to. So, for instance, I don't know what side of Arran Charlie Triggs is on, but if he's on the east side of Arran, he wants to listen to channel 84, it looks like, or 64, sorry. If he's on the western side of Arran, he wants to listen to channel 10. And if he's on the northern side of Arran, he wants to listen to channel 63. I just think it's so useful for knowing, okay, that's the channel that they're going to broadcast the weather information on. Even though I didn't quite hear it when they were doing the initial kind of call, I can still check this and know which area to listen to. Within this area as well, it also tells us all the times that these bulletins or weather broadcasts are issued at as well. So yeah, that whole area of the book is going to be super useful. Distances, and this one here is just, it's kind of like, you might have, those who remember old car road atlases or road maps, quite often had like the distance from Glasgow to London or Manchester to Glasgow in them. This is exactly what that is, except for the sea and by the rum line. And we can use it for like crossing large offshore patches of water. So this one is from distances across the North Sea. So we've got all the UK ports down the left and all the Norwegian and or French ports along the top. And then it tells us the distance between them. We still want to measure our distance when we plan our passage, because we're going to see which route we're going to take, and we're going to check out for the dangers and stuff. What this is great for is our appraisal stage, when we're like, oh, is that possible? I want to sail to Bergen, but I want to sail from the UK to Bergen, but I don't want to be at sea for more than 48 hours. So you look down there and there's Lowesoft at 508 miles. Okay, that's going to take us way more than 48 hours. I want a smaller number than that. Okay, 362 Dundee. But Dundee's not really got a marina, so I can't leave from there. Aberdeen, 308. Inverness, 356. You keep going, oh, look, it's only 210 miles from Lerwick to Bergen. Well, why don't we sail up the coast to Lerwick and then head across to Bergen, and we'll keep the distance. And that's all about your appraisal stage. And this table, or these tables, can be really useful just to help kind of in that initial planning stage of your journey. Of course, we've also got our tidal atlases as well. We can even get our tidal atlas books on their own, but our almanacs will generally include them as well. And they won't just have one, like we do in our RYA Training Almanac for our theory courses that we do online. They'll have numerous ones. This one's just for the northwest coast of Scotland and the islands, but they'll have them for all the different areas around the coast. Really useful for passage planning, passage overview, just to see, what way is the tide flowing or when's the tide flowing north so that I can make progress on my passage. And you may just need to link a few of them up. And then sometimes if there's a super strong tidal area, they'll have more in-depth detail on that as well. Again, that rolls into passage information, and it tells us all about each stage of the passages around the coast. So the ones that we can see here is Cape Wrath to Ullapool, then Ullapool to Loch Torridon, and then it'll be Loch Torridon to Kyle of Lacouch will probably be the next one, then Kyle of Lacouch to Mallaig, and it'll just give us passage information working our way all along the coast. Now, you might want to go the other way, so you just need to, read each paragraph and then take it in reverse. But yeah, again, super useful information. It's going to tell us when all the tidal stuff, so like when's the tide going to turn, when is the north or east going or south going stream start, is it different at springs, is it different at neaps, and tell us about some of the major dangers to be aware of as well. All the kind of similar information that we've been dealing with in our training almanacs. This picture's not come up too well, but yeah, it's kind of like that content page, that inner cover of our training almanac. It's got a picture of each area. It's got all the major ports labeled. If they've got their own entry, it's got their number next to it, which kind of relates to a type of page number. And then we've got our distances in and amongst that area as well, which again can be really useful in that appraisal stage of our passage planning. But yeah, come to that, find the name of the port, and then go to the correct page number. Again, harbour info, absolutely chocker full of harbour info in these big books here. Exactly the same stuff. You'll get a lot of chart extracts. You've got a tidal curve at the top there. You've got port info. You've got secondary port information. You've got all the facilities. And you just, by reading it, you're just pulling out so much local knowledge. Then we come to some extra ones that, you might not have thought of that can be useful. In here, I found a couple of pages about telling us when the sun rises and sets. It's dependent on our latitude and also the declination of the sun. That's starting to get into astronavigation, but it does give us an idea as to what bearing we can expect the sun to rise and set from. And then it can help with our overall navigational awareness, and also being aware of what the celestial bodies are doing. It's got these tables for the moon as well. And it also tells us on pages nearby to this as well, the time of sunrise and sunset as well, which is super useful because we want to generally be arriving places in daylight if possible. So that's going to change. At the latitudes we are in the UK, that changes a lot throughout the year. So if we know when sunrise and sunset is, that can be super useful to extending our day on the water. I absolutely love just being aware of the celestial bodies without getting into all the technicalities of it. There is other almanacs as well. This one here is a New Zealand almanac. I've actually got the 2011-2012 edition here, so mine's a little bit out of date. However, while all my tidal information is out of date, a lot of the other information is still valid. The lights will possibly be out of date. They might have been changed, but the tidal streams, that'll still be good. That hasn't changed. And all the reference information it gives me, that's all pretty good. So it's, sometimes good to hold on to them. This one specifically, you can actually get this for free online and download it. It's all part of their kind of Land Information Act. You can get it on paper if you want to. It's got similar info, but the main thing we're pulling out of our almanacs that changes all the time is tidal information. It's the tidal heights. They change year on year. The port information, that will change. So yes, you want to keep it updated. However, if you go into a 2-year-old almanac and you're looking for the port information, it's probably still going to be relatively useful for you. But you do need to be aware that the information isn't up to date, and it would be more of an awareness. You'd still need to get the proper information from somewhere else. But it could be good in the appraisal stage, and then you're like, okay, that's possible. Now let's go and get the up-to-date information before we actually plan our passage. So yeah, there's various other almanacs around. It doesn't have to be a Reeds. Another great one that I love is this Welcome Anchorages book. This kind of covers all of the northern areas of the UK and Ireland. And it gives kind of loads of kind of port information. It's all quite small. I don't know how well you can see that, but you've basically got kind of a strip for each port. But each one, it tells you all about, it's got a little chartlet or a little sketch, like a piloted sketch of the port or the harbour, the marina. It's got all the facilities. It's got a bit of blurb about it. It's got the contact facilities, the VHF channel, and a little picture often as well, so you can see what it kind of visually looks like. This is a great product. It's free online. This is obviously last year's edition, but they do have a new one out. I have seen it. So yeah, and you can generally pick them up in marinas and stuff around. So if you are passing, grab one. It's great information, and you can utilize it with all your other resources just to learn more and more about the areas that you're sailing in. Pilot guides. Often you'd need many pilot guides to cover your sailing ground. For instance, the one I have in my hand covers from Ardent American Point to Cape Wrath. So basically just north of Ardent Training headquarters in Tobermory, all the way up to the northwestern tip of Scotland, but not the Outer Hebrides. You'd need a separate book if you wanted the Outer Hebrides. So yes, there is a little bit of a downside, but they are full of absolutely great information. Again, you're going to get little chartlets from them. You've got information, and you've got a lot of blurb and text about how to navigate, how to cruise, and how to safely kind of move around and make best use of that area. It's all comes from local knowledge. It's all relevant navigational info for you. It may even be showing you transits that aren't marked on a chart. There's some great ones I've seen from these books where it's like, if you just line up, my favorite is if you just line up the transit of the roof of the farmhouse with the end of the stone dike wall, and that's your transit line to go into the harbour. And you think, how am I ever going to do that? But sure enough, you get there, takes you straight down the safe transit line. But it's not on the chart, but you get that information from your pilot guides. And yeah, again, various publishers of them. You'll get them for pretty much most places around the world. So if you want to learn more about your sailing area, maybe you're going to do your practical course somewhere and you can't wait and you want to be more prepared, find a pilot guide for the area you're going to sail in, grab it, and yeah, have a little read all about it before you even get there. Like the other books as well, the first few pages before it gets into each port is going to give you lots of information about the overall area. So yeah, super useful. And that's it from me. That was obviously just a brief insight into some of the publications that we can find useful, but hopefully it just shows you how we can, or what we want to use hand in hand with our almanac. Although we focus on this on our training courses, there is a lot of other information out there, and it's just about pulling it out there. And of course, now that we have lots of information on the internet as well, that's a good resource as well, as long as we know that it's valid information.
Okay, Charlie, when the house bears about 270 degrees.
Information to work out our distance from the lighthouse and use that.
We might be perfectly on track, but if we're not on time.
Our echo sound is working, we can find a contour and follow it nicely into port.
Our left hand is pointing towards the center of the low.